不够啊，电脑不够用啊，还是再加2台。
Hello everyone, this is Jin on behalf of LockBet365. Now today I've decided to make a video describing the past 2 years of my experiences playing on Chinese poker sites. Now before 2017, I mostly played on sites like PokerStars and Full Tilt Poker. In 2017, I saw the rise of a new kind of mobile-based app called PokerMaster. It was the first of its kind, and it was a new business model that spawned over 12 newer clones, better iterations of itself in the past 2 years. PokerMaster was unique. It was the first of its kind, a platform serving independent home game clubs. Each club responsible for handling their own player accounts, enforce rules, deposits, and payouts. Now, because PokerMaster was mobile-based and targeted Asian players, the action was ridiculously soft, and it attracted many degenerates, recreational players, bum-hunting regs, and even world-class players. Yep, I heard at some point, players like Figure Hall's Jungleman, they all played on PokerMaster. Now, it was certainly risky. The clubs weren't really enforced. They were not equipped to handle collusion or cheating. Also, many club owners cheated players out of their own money. However, despite all of this, the app still gained a lot of popularity. To give an example of how great the action was, I played at the $30 level of HUSNGs on PokerStars back in 2016, and before that I played as high as $500 HUSNG in 2010. However, when I started on PokerMaster, I jumped straight into the NL 1000 limit and quickly moved up to NL 2000 within only 2 months. Now, I played through an agent on a staking deal. Under the same agent, there were about 30 foreign players, mostly Europeans, Americans, and Canadians. Everyone had similar but different deals. I was a very unique case since I resided in China and I had Chinese bank accounts, so I wasn't charged an agent fee. But I think the agent fee back then with my agent was usually around 10% of winnings. Now, I will get into the agent fees troubles that I had to face playing on these apps in a little bit. First, I would like to talk a bit about collusion and botting. And yes, they're a big problem, and fast forward to the present, PokerMaster still lives, but it's not what it used to be. It kind of fell off. In 2018, bots and collusion rings invaded most of the stakes on PokerMaster, and naturally, the operators weren't equipped to handle these problems. PokerMaster also faced serious competition by the likes of newer apps like POKERKING and Red Dragon, and also most recently a new app called POKERTIME. These newer apps function very different, and the biggest difference is the decision to completely ditch the home game format and also the need to buy in-game currency. Chinese players would deposit directly through the sites using Alipay, WeChat, and their bank accounts. And essentially these sites operate just like PokerStars and Party Poker, but with an emphasis on 8-man straddle cash games, and obviously still being mobile based. Now, I've played on all of these sites mentioned, having spent most of my time on PokerMaster, Red Dragon, and most recently PokerTime. So I want to share some advices and tips for those brave enough to consider exploring the underworld of Chinese poker apps. Like I explained earlier, action is definitely soft, but underneath the stereotype that Chinese players are bad, there's also these other factors. App-based poker attract a lot of regs playing on their cell phones during work hours in the afternoon. They generally play on the nitty-weak side. The apps definitely attract foreign degenerates as well. Lifetime losers from all over the world targeted these sites, thinking they finally caught a break. These people pretty much ignored all the risks associated with playing there since they were never winners. Instead, what attracted them is the fresh idea of mobile-based real money apps and also a different player pool. Also in China, the newer the app, the less short-term risk and also the fishier the population. And I strongly stress the fish part. Now this is because Asians love to gamble, and every time a new app comes out, the usual degenerate gamblers would sign on firsthand. This does not limit to poker at all. The biggest thing in China is actually mahjong. And for every poker player playing on these apps, there's about 10 to 20 mahjong app-based real money players. And lastly, I already mentioned about the decline of PokerMaster. Now, it could definitely be a good thing. There are still certain risks regarding the stability of these sites, but I'll give a few examples on how the newer sites are more stable as a whole. Operators nowadays are more careful. They've evolved, and each new app has added security measures, more deposit options. For example, the recent POKERTIME app has a pretty cool anti-collusion system that actually eliminates a huge percentage of people who casually share hold cards pre-flop. Red Dragon actually implements PokerStar's technology, and they use this to catch bots. Now, I don't know how efficient it is, but through my experiences, it's definitely notable that Red Dragon is not as vulnerable as PokerKing. On PokerKing, my experiences there wasn't that great, but I heard good things recently about how they updated their security measures and took care of most of the cheaters. Apparently, a big Russian bot collusion ring was busted in the summer, and PokerKing froze hundreds of accounts and confiscated funds. So I guess it's a good thing that at least these apps are giving attention to protecting its players. PokerMaster back in the day was definitely more like the Wild West. Now, the way rake work on these apps is actually really sweet for the player. The player gets raked 5% of their winning sessions, so when you end a losing session, you pay 0 rake, and when you're in the plus, only 5% gets deducted from the profit of that particular session. For multi-tablers, emulator is the way to go. For the most part, if you have a decent PC, I've seen people play up to 20 tables without much trouble other than getting 20 different accounts from their agents. Which brings me to another point. Because this is a mobile-based software, each account must be linked to a unique Chinese phone number. Now, thankfully, in most cases, the agent takes care of this by setting up accounts using proxies. Now, finally, I want to share some findings regarding players' profits on these sites. Now, most of our players play from countries such as Brazil, Russia, Portugal, the US, and also Canada. And most of our regs are from PokerStars, America's Card Room, and Party Poker. I want to compare their winnings from previous sites to their current Chinese app of choice. Now, the best way to give you guys an idea of the action and level of play on these apps is to compare the most common stakes on the Chinese apps to a common stake on PokerStars, which is the Zoom 25 level, which also happens to be the average stake of our players before playing on the Chinese apps. And we found that most players at Zoom 10 to the Zoom 50 level, these players won at a win rate of about 3 to 4 big blind per 100. And with their skill level, they obtained win rates up to 30 big blind per 100 on PokerTime. Now on PokerKing, it's similar, and on Red Dragon, the 5, 10, 20 level is a little bit tougher than the other sites. I also listed the average hands per hour for the 3, as well as the volume our average player plays across the 3. Now, these results are accurate for most of our players. It's a pretty good representation. However, there are some exceptions that perform below these numbers, but most of our players can achieve close to 30 big blind per 100 on soft sites like the new PokerTime. We also found that there wasn't any noticeable difference in win rates between the 2, 4, 8 and 5, 10, 20 stakes, only with the exception of Red Dragon. Now keep in mind, 2, 4, 8 would be a bit over NL 100 and 5, 10, 20 would be closer to NL 300. Another key thing is, the hands per hour dealt slightly differ between the sites. For example, PokerTime and Red Dragon is a little bit faster than PokerKing. Alright guys, so thanks for sitting through this video. For more information, you can visit our website at lockbet365.com or through our Skype, which is lockbet365@gmail.com. And we will continue to update this channel with gameplay videos from our players at different levels of play. Thanks for watching.